And there it is. Okay. Testing. I don't know why I say that. I just did a test, and the test was good. Speaking of good, we're about to go on a nice good run today. It is, spiritually, episode 54 of Ride Along with Run Man. That is my podcast. I'm your host, Run Man. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you if you haven't seen me before. And the bulk of the podcast is going to be running, so we may as well get to it. But before I do, I want to do one thing, and that's show y'all that little guy. I don't know if you can see. Maybe I'll get a little closer, then move it further away. But that is a rock with a smiley face on it. It is a stencil-looking one, like somebody put a stamp on this little rock. And I've mentioned earlier, let's begin running. I've mentioned earlier that, there it is. That there is some low-grade, fun, youth-related, I'm sure, vandalism in this city. People paint rocks and they leave them places on people's property, on the sidewalk, on mailboxes, garbage cans, all sorts of things. Logs, in ravines. You find them everywhere. It's very strange. And this particular one is not a bright one. You saw it was basically cream and dust colored. And I saw it because I was watching. And I was listening. I was listening to podcasts, but more importantly, I was listening capital L. I was open and sensitized through practice. I was practicing listening, practicing coming to an open space. And as a result, I found treasures. In fact, there were many of them. I might mention all of them, I might not. The physical one, though, was a rock that I will now, I've never done this before, I will now put this somewhere else for somebody else to find. I'll put it somewhere obvious, though. I'm not hiding. I'm catching myself looking for things. It's going to be an interesting month for podcasts because if I do any more of these, who knows? Because it's October, so Halloween decorations are coming out. It's going to be a little bit more fun visually as I roll through these burbs. Fantastic. That's a good time. Now, I said spiritually, episode 54. Technically, this is 55. But I lost 54. So this is the new 54. And when I say I lost 54, I mean that I did not do a sound check. Didn't realize I'd bumped the jack of the microphone. And nothing got recorded. So, live and let live. I remember I've lost footage before on different programs I've done. And I'm thinking about one in particular. I had been recording a destruction ball game. And I went for like 3 hours before I realized that the laptop cuts off every hour or so. So I basically lost 2 hours of footage, and I was going on about it with the hour that I did keep when I realized that. I was like, I've been out here all day, just playing sports and kicking butt and talking to the camera, and all of it's gone. I felt such a sense of loss. This time I just kind of laughed it off, even though it was maybe this is why I was laughing, because damn, I was not a happy camper for podcasting during Sober September. I was doing runs. I was doing some other stuff. I didn't really podcast after that one that I did on the 3rd of September. So that was weeks of not podcasting. And then, the next month rolls around. It's like October 1st or 2nd or something like that, or 4th or something, and I did an hour and a half run, a nice big one, real juicy. I talked all about Sober September and the Sober Septembers that I've done. I talked about experiences that I had had with speech and with talking to people and listening to myself, and especially with the Well, it's just a pardon. With the teal chakra, the throat chakra, because I'm a chakra boy, I like my chakras. They're delicious. I like them with extra sprinkles, with a tall glass of cool lemonade. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all know. A little bit of mint in there as a garnish. Anyway, I laughed it off this last time. I was a little butthurt for a minute, but then I was like, I'm good. Ooh, here we go. This is where we're gonna hide it. We're gonna hide it right there. Goodbye, Happy Face Rock. Semi-hidden. Hidden in plain sight. I wonder if anybody's gonna catch that. They certainly will if there's a strong breeze and those things get scattered. Eventually. Maybe not, though. Maybe the inscriptions that make up the happy face on that little rock will fade away. It's not for me to know. Perhaps I'm the last person to see that happy face. Whew. I was about to be sad about that for a second, but hey, there's no sadness in this moment. I watched it almost happen, and then like, oh nope, there's no resonance there. There's no life to that emotion. There's life to joy right now. There's life to comedy right now. There's life to an enduring sense of, I don't know, zest. I'm gonna call it zest, not zeal. Zeal's a little intense, but zest. I got a little extra oregano flaked on me today, and it's a good deal. I can't believe I'm podcasting right now more than ever. I know I've said this before. More than ever, I cannot believe how I just kind of flipped a switch somewhere in the mechanism. I decided, yep, I'm doing it. And it just did itself. I didn't know until I knew. And when I knew, there was no doubt. Because I was listening. When you listen, you're more likely to not only hear what's going on, but to make intelligible sense of it. And I'm using intelligible with a capital I, like listening with a capital L. Because the currency of information is not all coins and bills. There is informational crypto in my brain. There's different languages. There's different economies moving around these data, these quanta. For example, when I got back to the house after altering the day's trajectory, which has been a huge deal today, on that walk, I noticed, and at the end of the walk especially, I noticed my heart was beating very strong, and I liked that. Like it was beating with an easy strength. Really liked that. I haven't taken so many walks recently. Actually, very recently, yes, but before that, no. Typically what happens in my life is I'll run for a period of time, and the runs will replace the walks. I tend not to run and walk in the same day. And I tend, these last couple of years, to just run, and not to walk at all, really. Maybe here and there. But I've had a few walks recently, occasionally on days that I've run as well. This is one of those days. I walked earlier, I'm running now. There was a glass of citric water in between those events. There was a bit of chat, a bit of a hangout, low key with me and my housemates. They're working, so they weren't super available for in-depth discussion. Neither was I, really. At least external discussion. My attention, my bandwidth was absolutely primarily oriented inward. Reminds me, I learned a couple of new words. Have we cursed yet today? I don't think we have. This could be a podcast or a household-friendly one. Maybe we might be up to number 4 or 5 of those. But anyway, I guess I'll know later. But since we're doing new words, may as well do it right, correct? Because when we learn new words around here, we like to spell them. Interoception is the first one. The sense of what's going on in you, in your skin. I don't know if the word is meant to carry through to the mind or the spirit or whatever. You all know me. I intentionally misuse resources and mismanage things to come to interesting new places. So you bet your bottom dollar that I'll be doing that. But before proceeding to the second word, let's spell the first. I'm probably going to do it wrong because I've never seen it before. I've only heard it. Shout out to Huberman Lab. Andrew Huberman is a smart fellow who knows these words. I'm going to guess. INT. Int. I'm going to guess EROCEPTION. Interoception. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. And then, of course, in this pretty little package that we've made ourselves, there is the second word, which is the opposite. Exteroception. Sensing that which is outside of you. I'm going to have to figure out what the difference is between interoception and introspection. Likewise, I don't know if there's a word for exteroception in that particular suite of words. I don't know if there's such a thing as extroception. Is it just exteroception? There were too many cars that did not take the left that I thought I was going to take. Now we're in a weird space. And that's okay. We've been here before. Quite nice. It's a lovely day. It's a lovely day. We're okay. We're just hanging out. Having a good old time. Having a good old time. We're doing a lot of this. Man. Anyway, I'm guessing again. Exteroception, EXT, EROCEPTION. I am guessing. Maybe I should have looked that up. Research has seldom been my favorite foot forward. Alliteration, a bit more so, clearly. It's just a jovial thing today. Man. It really is. I'm telling you. And here's the thing. I feel much better now. But physically, I still feel pretty rough. I woke up weak and shaky. Not much, but enough. I woke up certainly nauseous. Didn't really sleep well. It's been a couple of days in a row. A few days in a row, these things can compound. What I think is happening is, and I don't know how much I want to recover old ground since the original version of this episode is gone, and there was a lot of talk about the differences and similarities between the different Sober Septembers I've done. This is the second one that I completed. The first one was like 3 years ago, and they were night and day experiences. You know, as you do, as it happens. Anyway, what was I saying? I was saying something. I don't know what it was. That road gets really twisty, curvy. And this one not so much, and it's also much shorter. This is an easier road. I'm taking the easy road today. But, God, what was I talking about anyway? Well, we went over some words, talked a bit about altering trajectories, talked about old ground. Well, golly, oh yeah, one thing that was the same between the two that I wanted to talk about just now was that, and is, that I put a hold on everything the first time. I put a hold on everything. I wasn't really thinking about the future. I wasn't really thinking about anything except for making it through the day. It was a very compressed space. It was a crucible. What is a crucible? It's a hot, compressed, very strong container that holds something that's trying to alchemize. Something that's trying to change. Or trying to sort out. To go from somewhere that it is to somewhere that it wants to be. So I really hit the brakes on everything except for not drinking the first time. Years later, last month, I did not stop running. I did not stop thinking about things that I want to bring into my world. I didn't stop journaling. Didn't stop dreaming. It was all in all a happier experience. However, I will say that I must have accumulated a quiet wealth of malaise. Must have been some stuff that I wasn't attending to properly. In the spirit of that back burner, mitigated and diminished but not terminated policy. I'm sure it was in there somewhere. If not because it was Sober September, then simply because I'm a human being. Human beings are always prioritizing. This goes later, this comes now. This breath and this heartbeat are really important. And this one, and this one, and this one. And you can get lost in the midterm and the long term if you're holding up the magnifying lens. And you do need to focus on certain tasks a lot of the time. But losing the forest for the trees, there was some kind of an accumulation of a material that I was not super happy to be mounting. Oh, this is fun. I'm gonna jump this little divide and head on through. Yeah. Ooh, I wonder how the quality of my voice will change. Well, my mic went way down when I jumped, so hopefully, light at the end of the tunnel, right? Hopefully I'm still making noise that can be heard to somebody listening to this episode. Number 54, I guess. Well, this is quite nice. Well, yeah, bit of a different run today, huh? You thought you were going to see the tracks for the 1,000th time. Instead, we went under a freeway twice, in 2 different places. And I'm tempted to just do a little bit of cauliflowering around here. And I'm gonna. Sorry. I said cauliflowering. I meant clovering. You know how freeways, on-ramps, and off-ramps often sort of have that shape to them, that pretzely, lobular, complex design. Anyway, talking about, oh, this street goes places. This street ends in the word way. So it's not a street, it's a way. I believe ways open up to streets. or other ways. I'm not sure. I don't know my traffic, I don't know my streetography, my street geography that well. Looks like there's a dead end. So, I would have called this a court. Well, let's check it out. Never been here before, I don't think. Maybe once in reverse. New ground, guys. New ground. That's what we're doing here. That's the whole design of this thing. It's the whole situation. Yeah. No parking, no parking, no parking. Okay, the question is this open space? It is open space. Well, it leads back the way that we came. I can tell by the tennis court down there. So we're not going to go back that way. We're going to go this way. As long as we're trying to get lost in this town. I don't want to make this run too easy on myself, do I? It's already easy enough. It's easy because I've been listening. I'm listening because I've been open. I've been open because I've been practicing being open. And I've been practicing because at some point anything is better than the pain you're in. Sometimes you're really stubborn. By you, I mean me. Points to anybody who absolutely knew what I was about to say just now before I said it, or before I completed it. Okay, so this is probably a pretty quick dead end too. Ah, damn. That's okay. That's alright. We can go back. We can go back and figure this out. Is that a driveway or an outlet? Where the hell am I? Besides slightly up. I'm not going to call it a hill. Nice houses. That's some kind of a citrus plant. Maybe. Okay, the leaves are looking a little weird. Maybe it's not. There's some rosemary around here. Yeah, you know, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. Practice. Here's the kicker. I want to talk about, I got hit in the eye by some debris just now. Ow. It's this now, and earlier it was a fly on the deck. And what was easy was when I was on the deck earlier, which I'm never on. I never just hang out in the front of the property that I live in. But I did that today. It was cold inside. I wanted sunshine. And I felt horrible. I just kept not being able to pass out or go back to sleep. But I was so lethargic. I was so unmotivated. And I was so uncomfortable with my own psychological and physiological condition. Whatever happened in Sober September, whatever was building up, and I do think that is what happened, it kind of spilled over, and I had a few really nice days at the end of it. A few nice days and a few nice drinks. Not terribly... Oh, that fig tree smells good. Not as much as Yeah, we're gonna cross and go on that court too. Not as many as you think, though. I mean, I've been a heavy drinker for a long time now. Haven't really been drinking heavily. I've been drinking moderately, I would say, compared to what I'm used to. So I thought my body would give me accolades. Instead, between the turning of the season and reintegration of alcohol into my daily rhythms, nightly rhythms, really. I have not done any day drinking this month. I almost did a couple of times, but I just didn't get around to it. It's fine. That's a couple of times a month thing anyway. We got all the time we need. But between all the things, and how cold it was, and I just didn't feel great. Well, it was just not a... Wow, this is pretty cool up here. It was just not a happy space. But really what it was I had... Wow. That's where we are. Okay. I kind of knew. Point is, it was anxiety. I was thinking about all the things. All the things. You all know. You all have been there. We've all been there a zillion times. We've all been there a zillion times. Well, we've never circled this park before. Should we do that? Yeah, sure. Why not? Run down this little slope. Whew. Yeah, not too bad. No dog walkers or CrossFit out here today. No biggie. No yoga, folks. Wonder when the last time somebody served a hot dog at that stand was. Anyway, I just wasn't letting myself off the hook. Yeah, let's go through this little way here. Until I did. And it was slow at first. I think a lot of people could have been feeling the way that I was feeling. Recognize how most of it was their own doing. I was, for instance, refusing to breathe properly. The way that you do when you know you gotta calm yourself down. I was refusing to. And that's okay. You gotta own it. Howdy. And at a certain point I was like, well, God, I don't have the energy to do this or that. I don't have the motivation to expand my awareness to my regular thresholds between this and that parameter that are unseen and unquantifiable, but certainly outside of which I am currently positioned. This was me this morning thinking. Really all that I actually thought was, you know what I can do? You know what I can do? I can get up. I can get up, see if I don't fucking upchuck. Damn! I cursed. Oh well. So, I can see if I can't get around the house a little bit. If I can get around the house a little bit, then we've got options. I like options. I like options. Options like breakfast. I thought maybe a salty snack would be a good way to really wake up at like noon after hours of just sitting in a gray semi-consciousness. So I got up. I had some top ramen noodles that perked me up a bit, but I also knew I was going to have to do something, and I instinctively reached for the unknown. Do anything. Do something, anything different. Let the situation be different. Let the setting be different. Make the ramen different. Anything. And so the anything that I settled on was, I'm going to hang out on the deck with my breakfast. So I got my giant coffee mug that I got in New York. I threw the noodles in there. I washed the pan that had done all the good boiling for me. Threw a little bit of pepper in there. And I was out the door. I said a brief hello to my housemates, and I hung out on the deck. And I don't know how long it was. I don't think it was long. Maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. As I laid there in the sun, sometimes laying down, sometimes swatting myself by swatting a fly that was on me. That was all over me, etc., etc. Laying there playing around with an old leaf that was flexible enough to bend without breaking, but brittle enough where I eventually did intentionally crumble it to dust in my hands. And those sorts of casual things that I just don't do as much as I used to. Wow, I've got a heck of a stomach cramp above my right hip. Ooh. Or whatever you want to call that. In my right column, there's a fair compressive stitchery going on here. It's been there for a few minutes now, but it's not massaging itself away. I see there's construction on the road. I'm sick of construction. So we're not going to go up that hill today. We're going to go back again. But first, we're going to check out that cool bus with mountains painted on it. And this street that I don't know if I've ever run on this street. Doesn't matter. Narrating the experience doesn't matter as much as having the experience. I'm out here. Earlier, as I was soaking in the sun and playing around with the leaf and listening to the podcasts, I began to shift. The sunshine was great, and I still wasn't sure if I was going to honk out there. I was looking at traffic passing, and sometimes I was half in the shade. I just spent a fair amount of time seated or reclined or whatever and listened and let the sun in. It was a very restorative experience. Enough so that I decided that I felt okay enough to walk. That is a pink, succulent. Good Lord. Oh, there's the construction people. I wonder if I can make a left in peace. I'm just so sick of this road having construction on it. Always at the choke point. Or near the choke point. But I understand it. Now let's go this way. Respectfully. And head on down. How many? Oh God. It could be 100 times or more. It could be hundreds of times that I've ran down this hill just like this. Anywho, at some point,